What's up, people? It's Cammy TP saying fertility politics, and today I will try to predict how things would have been different if Hillary Clinton won the 2016 presidential election instead of Donald Trump. I will try my best not to show my biases this vid, but it may show a little, but I'll try my best. So the background of this election was the Democrat nominee for president in 2016 was Hillary Clinton, who was a former First Lady, New York Senator, and Secretary of State, and her running mate was U.S. Senator from Virginia, Tim Kaine. The Republican nominee this year was CEO of Trump Towers, golf courses, etc. Donald Trump, and his running mate this year was Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Dramatic Scar, who is a YouTuber, requested that I do this vid so you can thank him for it. And thank you, Dramatic Scar, for the request. Hillary won the popular vote by 3 million, however. Donald Trump won the Electoral College. This is only the 5th time this has happened in the country's 59 presidential elections. Now let's go into how different things would be if Hillary Clinton won the presidency instead of Donald Trump. Everyone was shocked that Trump won. Everyone was like, no way in heck is he going to win, and then he did, especially during the primaries. And this is partly because Hillary had so much political experience and Trump had none. If Hillary Clinton won the 2016 presidential election instead of Trump, it would have been history-making. She would have been America's first woman president. Her campaign was off needing a woman in the White House, since we haven't had a woman president, and Trump's campaign was off of building a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border. That would be 2 U.S. history-making presidents back-to-back, as Obama was America's first black president. Then, we wouldn't have had Kamala Harris, their first woman VP, or first Asian and black VP. Joe Biden would never have become president. Biden's term as vice president was ending since Obama couldn't run anymore due to term limits. He didn't run that year. Vice president is typically considered a successor to the president when he's term limited, or if he decides not to run. Or if something happens to the president, vice president becomes president. So, because his son Beau had recently passed away, so Hillary Clinton ran instead. Everyone was shocked that Trump won. Everyone was like, no way in heck is Trump going to win, especially in the primaries, especially since Hillary had so much political experience. Now let's talk about some things that would have happened differently if Hillary were elected president instead of Trump. If Hillary were elected instead of Trump in 2016, I guarantee this. Roe v. Wade, which states a woman's constitutional right to an abortion, would not have been overturned and would still be in place. A big part of Trump's campaign in 2016 was that he would appoint pro-life justices to the Supreme Court that would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. There were 3 vacancies from judges leaving the Supreme Court in that time. And conservatives now have a 6-3 supermajority on the Supreme Court, and if Hillary Clinton won, she would have appointed 3 liberal judges, and liberals would have that supermajority instead. Roe v. Wade was to be overturned in the Jobs v. Jackson ruling 6-3. Also, January 6th wouldn't have happened either. I don't know if Trump would have said the 2016 election was stolen like he did in 2020, or if angry Trump supporters would have stormed the Capitol, or social media fact-checkers would have hunted down stolen election posts. Another point is that there would have been no Keystone Pipeline open, which increased oil production here in America and focused on drilling more oil here. Trump opened it up, but Obama canceled the project. Hillary Clinton would probably have focused more on a shift to green energy like windmills and solar panels, as well as a bigger push for electric cars and vehicles. Trump famously does not believe in climate change. We could probably expect a more lax approach to immigration from Hillary than Trump did. There would have been no famous border wall, which was a great chunk of Trump's campaign. Trump had stricter policies when it comes to immigration. There would be fewer restrictions at the border. Also less backlash due to some conditions Trump allegedly had down there. The Democrats prefer more lax restrictions when it comes to immigration. When it comes to wars, when Trump was president, there were no new wars. I don't know how if that would have been the same under Hillary. Biden had such a quick withdrawal from Afghanistan, and Trump had a more steady plan to get us out. Trump demanded that he and Kim Jong-un meet in person, but Biden wants to do it not in person, so maybe Hillary would have done the same and taken things slower like Biden wants to do. Democrats also want us to be involved in the Ukraine war, while the Republicans don't want us to get involved in it. So she may have gotten involved in more wars if there were any going on at the moment. When it comes to scandals, Trump definitely had his fair share of them while he was president. The Clintons had their fair share of them too. Trump was the only U.S. president ever who was impeached twice. Bill Clinton, Hillary's husband, was impeached too. Trump was absolutely notorious for his tweets and Twitter fights. He called everyone twisted names. He was deemed many times as insensitive. Left-wing medias had milked him a lot. His presidency, he was CNN and MSNBC's peak years for ratings. The Clintons have allegedly been crooks and done many illegal things. Here's how society would be different if Trump lost and Hillary won. He would be much less polarized and divided. Trump was a very divisive president, and I think everyone acknowledges that to some extent. Politics today is very much divisive in America, and talks about it can be very fiery and toxic, which is why it's considered rude to talk about it, especially with people with different political views from you. Talks about politics used to be, like in the 90s and 2000s, way more kind and respectful. Back then, you could talk about politics with people with different opinions from you in a respectful, mature manner. In fact, it was encouraged to have discussions with those who have different opinions from you in a respectful manner. Now people talk politics like 4-year-olds. It leads to very fiery discussions. Opinions aren't respected. It causes name-calling like horrible person, heartless, selfish, delusional, idiot, evil, etc., and can lead to lost friendships. Trump is often regarded as the man who changed American politics forever, and this is the reason why. This is also why I avoid sharing my personal political views in my vids and try to stay down the middle. You can't respectfully disagree anymore, and there has to be such intense debate now. Trump and MAGA have in some part contributed to it for sure. Society has changed so much. And also, would Hillary have won re-election? I don't think so. This is because the 2010 and 2014 midterm elections were both red wave years during a Democrat presidency, so imagine how big of a red wave year we would have seen in 2018 given Hillary's unpopularity. Probably similar to what we will see this year. Both Trump and Hillary were unpopular. One poll showed while they were running against each other in the 2016 election that 60% of people hated both of them, so if that, you would think the third candidate would have won. But no, given the Clintons have their fair share of scandals and Bill's impeachment, she would not win re-election. However, I think the Republicans would have found a more centrist candidate than Trump, MAGA type one. Trump did lose his re-election though. And Trump, or Hillary in this case too, was the first president to not get reelected since George H.W. Bush in 1992. The Democrat primary field was crowded as heck in 2020, and I would expect the Republican Party to be the same. The 41st president didn't get reelected, and all three after him, Bill Clinton, Bush, and Obama, all got reelected. The three presidents straight got reelected. The Republicans probably would have chosen a John McCain, Mitt Romney type Republican to beat Hillary, since they would have learned their lesson from the 2016 election. Trump, as it was, lost a popular vote by 3 million. I think like half the reason Trump won in 2016 was that so many people who voted for him just didn't want Hillary to win. And like half the people who voted for Biden in 2020 just did so because they didn't want Trump to win. Many felt like they were choosing between two horrible options those elections. How would the Republican Party be if Hillary won instead of Trump? It probably wouldn't be the whole MAGA cult it is centered around Trump. It wouldn't be as extreme, although I think both parties have moved in more extreme directions, and I think this is partly why. Trump's endorsement practically guarantees a candidate wins the Republican primary, and some notable politicians not be where they were today if it weren't for Trump. This includes Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was his press secretary and now running for governor, and I think that elevated her to that, and she got Trump's endorsement. Governor of Georgia Brian Kemp, and so many more. The Republican Party would probably still be in the days of the Bush-Cheney era of endless wars. Back in those days, Sarah Palin was seen as extreme far-right, right? And she was the laughingstock of American politics and is often regarded as the reason John McCain lost the 2008 presidential election to Obama. She was among the first to endorse Trump in his 2016 presidential bid. She would, not if Hillary won, fit it right in now today and would be considered normal as of now. She is ready to represent Alaska now in Congress and has Trump's endorsement. She is nothing compared to some of the other faces in the GOP now. Imagine how Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, and Matt Gaetz would have been viewed in that era. Well, anyways, there you have it. My analysis for how things would be different if Hillary Clinton won the 2016 presidential election instead of Donald Trump. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this vid and subscribe to my channel.